Now today's video came from a message I received from Bryson on Instagram. So as always, if you ever want to learn something, either leave a comment below with a question, or if you want to do it more sort of privately, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, links in the description below. But Bryson was asking, how do I know what frets to use? Where to put my fingers? Where do I put my fingers on what particular frets? The question was about sort of that. So I thought, you know what, maybe there's a few other people that are wondering the same thing, so I thought we'd make a video about it. Now before we continue, I'm gonna have to change from this octave sound. Although it's a cool octave sound, it's gonna make a bit more sense if you can just hear one guitar playing. So let's change that. Okay, so much better, we're back. We've taken away those different octaves, so it's just a sort of single guitar tone. This will make a little bit more sense. Now, what the aim is of this video is it's going to show you exactly where to put your fingers if you're learning any particular type of riff or melody. We're going to do another video with chords, so if you want to know where to put your fingers for all the different chords, leave a comment below, okay, and we can do that another time. But today we're just focusing on melodies and riffs. Now, when you're first starting out, or you've been playing guitar for a little while, you can look at some tab or some sheet music, and you can think, whoa, there's so much going on, you know, and you start sort of beautiful minding, and there's so many characters and symbols, and it's confusing. Don't worry, everyone starts out that way. So what I need you to do is become a bit of a scientist or a bit of a detective. So you yourself can start working out the most efficient and effective way to play any different melody or riff. That's the point of this entire video. Now let's think of a riff that's going to use a lot of fingers to sort of illustrate these points I'm going to make. Let's do Black Dog by Led Zeppelin. Now the reason why I chose this riff is there's a few chromatic notes, which means if you're playing the 5th fret, there's a few lines in this melody where you play the 6th fret and then the 7th fret. So the frets go chromatically 1, 2, 3. And that's what chromatic means, it's just one fret or one semitone after another. Okay, so when we dive in and we have a look at this riff, here's how we'd play just one section of the riff. Now if you're looking at the sheet music, the tab for Black Dog, and you think, well, this part of the riff, there's so many notes going on, how am I supposed to play it just with one finger? You'd be jumping around the place, and it's actually, you're making things harder for yourself. So regardless of whether you're a beginner or an intermediate player or an advanced player, this is how I need you to think of every different song you're ever going to learn, or every different melody, or every different riff. What you need to think about is positions. So if you have a look at this sort of sheet music or the tab for Black Dog, see how there's a lot of 5th frets and it doesn't seem to go behind the 5th fret. So what I would assume for this particular part of the riff is it is in the 5th position. Now, 5th position, what does that mean? That means that your first finger is going to be on the 5th fret, second finger is going to be on the 6th fret, third finger is going to be on the 7th, pinky is going to be the 8th, and if there's any 9th frets within the riff, which there is, you would stretch your pinky over to play the 9th fret. Now if that pinky stretch is difficult for you, maybe you have smaller hands, maybe you're just learning, maybe you don't have that strength, instead of using that pinky on the 9th fret, I would actually move up so that for the 9th fret or any notes on the 9th fret, you suddenly go from being in the 5th position to the 7th position. That means your first finger goes from being on the 5th fret to the 7th fret, and you would play any 9th fret with your 3rd finger. So let's do a recap, and I'll sort of zoom in and show you just exactly what I'm meaning so we're all on the same page. So just to recap what we've just learned and having a bit of a closer look, if you're in the 5th position, that's meaning your first finger is going to be on the 5th fret. Your second finger is going to be on the 6th, your third's on the 7th, and your pinky is on the 8th fret. And that means anytime you see a 5th fret in the tab or the sheet music, depending on what the notes are, you would use your 1st finger. Every time you see a 6th fret, use your 2nd, 3rd, pinky. And if there is a 9th fret, you can either stretch your pinky out so that your 1st finger is still above the 5th fret, so you're still in that 5th position, you just stretched, or you can move your 1st finger up 2 frets and suddenly you're in the 7th position and you use your 3rd finger to play the 9th fret. So I'm going to teach you how to play that Black Dog riff just so you can put all of this advice and knowledge together into one riff, and you can see exactly what I'm explaining. But that's basically the whole premise. It's up to you to become that little bit of a detective. Have a look at the tab or have a look at the sheet music and just see, okay, are all the notes in one section of the fretboard? So maybe I'll just make up a riff. So in that riff that I just made up, yes, I did go out to the 9th fret, but I changed positions to the 7th fret and then moved back. Yes, there was a 4th fret, but I actually just moved my 1st finger out of the position, played the 4th fret, and then moved back to the 5th position. So it's up to you to look at the riff as a whole and just think, okay, is there a way that I can play this in one particular position? Maybe I have to move a fret out, play a note, and then go back to the position. Maybe I need to stretch my pinky out to get an extra note and then come back to the position. It's up to you to be a detective, and if you can get into that mindset of playing within positions and maybe making a shift if you need to, because suddenly you become a lot more efficient and effective with your playing. The more riffs you play, the more you'll get used to this idea of position playing, because it will just make so much sense and you'll be such more of an efficient and effective player. So if you see, let's say, let's go to the 5th fret again. If you see a riff and it starts on the 5th fret, and then the next fret is the 7th fret, you need to automatically get into that mindset, all right, I'm gonna use my 3rd finger. Okay, there's an 8th fret, I'm gonna use my pinky. And it's so much easier to play and to play without looking and just to get used to the fretboard if you're playing in a position. Rather than having to stare constantly at your guitar and worry about what one finger is doing, you can just get your hand used to playing in one position. So not only will you get better at playing without looking, and you can just listen rather than thinking about what your fingers are doing, you'll be able to play the riffs or melodies easier. You'll be able to solo easier because it's all about just playing in one different position. That's what this video is all about, and that's the secret to understanding where to put your fingers. Now, there's going to be some solos, some melodies, some riffs that are going to go outside a position and then maybe come back in. Or maybe the riff will start on the 3rd fret, so maybe the 3rd position. But maybe then it'll move to the next position and go to the 5th position. So it's up to you to sort of think about it a little bit logically, rather than have to worry about sliding up one finger and trying to cover as much ground with one finger or as 2 fingers as possible. Try and be a little bit more logical about the whole thing. I'm going to teach you now to play that Led Zeppelin Black Dog riff. So diving right on in, I'm going to show you how to use all of your fingers. I'm going to show you how to use your pinky or change positions. So then you'll learn both skills and you can tackle any riff and melody. Yes, it may take you a little bit longer to play this way, but over time you'll be a better player. Things will actually be easier. It's just a skill you have to develop. Let's dive on in and I'll show you how to play that. So with Black Dog, again, it's all in the sort of 5th position. So 1st finger, 5th fret, 2nd finger, 6th fret, 3rd finger, 7th fret, and pinky on the 8th fret. Now you start off with your 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the A string. Then you drop down a string and you play your 1st finger, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, and the 5th, 6th, and 7th frets. So let's do that. That's it, that's the start. Then you move your 3rd finger back up to the first note that you played. You play it again. That's what we've got. Then you jump down 2 strings so that your 1st finger is on the 5th fret of the 3rd string. Now, you play that 5th fret and then you slide it up 1 fret to the 6th fret. So you would actually change positions for that one note. And then you have a 7th fret on the string above, so because it's only 1 fret away, you would use your 2nd finger. Great job so far. Now currently you're in the 6th position because your whole hand has moved over 1 fret. Now the next notes that you have to play are the 7th and then the 9th fret on the 3rd string. What you could do is move your first finger up and change positions again so you're in the 7th position, or you could move your first finger back so that you're in the 5th position. I'll show you how to do both. So if you, let's say you slide up a fret, suddenly you're in the 7th position. You play with your first finger, the 7th fret, and then your 3rd finger on the 9th fret. Or let's say you do the other and you slide back a fret, you would use your 2nd finger stretched out on the 7th fret and your pinky on the 9th fret. Now it just depends whichever is easiest for you. I'll show you both of those methods. Whichever is easiest for you. If you're still sort of building up that pinky strength, move position to the 7th. Now let's say you've done that and you haven't used your pinky, so you're in the 7th position. You then move back 2 frets to our 5th position again, and you play the 5th fret, and then you hammer on and pull off with your 3rd finger on the 7th. And then up a string, you use your 3rd finger on that 7th fret, play it twice, then go back to the 5th fret on that 3rd string, then 3rd finger again on the 7th. So what we've got so far, it's a long riff, but it's heaps of fun and it's great for learning positions. You're up to the final tail end of the riff. What you would do now is use your first finger, so you're in 5th position, first finger on the 5th fret of the D string, then you play with your 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the D string and you play it twice. So it sounds like this. Jump up a string and play the 5th and then the 7th on the A string. Move back 2 frets so you're in the 3rd position, play your first finger and your 3rd finger. So what we've got for that last tail bit. And then you play a big chunky A chord. Or an A power chord if you want. So the whole riff. Now, was that riff tricky to play? Yes. It may take you a little while. Probably yes, but the best thing about it is you can really use that one riff to learn about playing in different positions. Try and play the riff changing up to the 7th position for those notes. Try and play it sticking in the 5th position. The notes are technically going to sound the same, it's just going to depend on your level of comfort. And that's what it's all about. Try and learn different melodies and riffs in the position that it looks like they're played. Worry less about trying to use one finger, and even if it takes you a longer time to use multiple fingers, at the end of the day you'll be a better musician and a better guitarist. And that's what it's all about. It's all about progressing a little bit every day. Thank you so much again, Bryson, for your comment on Instagram. If any of you have anything that you want to learn, leave a comment below or shoot me a message on Instagram or Facebook, links in the description. If you want to learn more about sort of guitar theory and reading sheet music, check out this playlist. Or if you want to learn more of a modern sort of approach and learning riffs and songwriting, check out this playlist. Otherwise, I've been Pat from Pat David Music. You've been awesome. Thank you for making it to the end of the video, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye.